Alrighty, go ahead here and do another video. So just getting out of this spot. It's obviously pretty busy here, but there we go. See the gray wheel coming up. I go ahead and kick it on. This will be a pretty busy drive, so let's see what it can do. As you can tell, stuff is going on everywhere. All right, so here we go. The beta is on. Oh boy. All right, so taking over for a minute. We have to go right, and it was getting way over that way. We need to be over here. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna get us out on the street here real quick. All right, kick it back on. All right, beta's back on. Yeah, yellow light. Here we go. All right, so not off to a great start, but we are on the road. So go ahead and wait here for a minute. Maybe check out a little bit of visualizations there. A lot going on that front. Trying to see how I can get you guys the very best view. Our turn here at the light, and then we'll get rolling. So I think this part of the drive will go pretty smooth. This is more of that straightaway action, so where the beta really shines at its best. I think overall it does a good job at stopping for lights, and as soon as it turns green it takes off, so handles those things pretty well. Switching lanes, things like that. It's just when you start getting into more of the turning and some of that, which is obviously such an important part, but that's where I tend to see more issues, especially fast turns where you got to make one turn and then quickly make another, and if there's no line markings, that kind of stuff, it certainly doesn't help either. Sometimes it'll just nail it and it'll do it perfect, but man, when it's wrong, it's wrong. All right, I just went ahead and hit my blinker to. Oh, no, they're moving out of my way, so I guess we're good. Let's put my blinker on because you can kind of tell it to shift over a lane if, you want. Which made sense a minute ago. Of course, that car got out of the way, so not as big of a deal, but nonetheless, we're fine here too. So we got a, well, no, just turned green. I was going to say red just passed the green, but that flipped. So either way, we got double green lights, but obviously the cars have stopped because of that, so we're getting through there just fine. Okay, so that was interesting. Just got an alert there. No idea what that was about. Didn't even capture it in there. So, in my alert list, it's saying my tire pressure is low, and it's off by like 2 psi because it's been a little cooler in Florida. And so whenever we first get that cold weather, it seems like all my cars, the tires always drop to psi. So it's definitely within safe levels. Just barely off, but enough for that to be triggered. But that alert back there sounded like a collision warning, but it must have been so brief that it opted not to put it into the log, which is interesting. Anyway, we're in the lane we need to be in. We're in the left lane because we'll be making a left up here at a pretty busy intersection. It's one that I've filmed before because it is really wide, really busy. You know, some would argue complex. You know, multiple lanes going left, turning. So you got that going on with typically cars also turning, coming the other way. But hopefully you can see in the video, or at least down here in the visualizations, you know, we've got, if you count turn lanes, there's 5 lanes on this side and 5 on the other. So this is 10 lanes across. If you're counting your turn lanes without, you know, just counting the regular lanes, it's, you know, 6 lanes total. But certainly a busy one, nonetheless. And we're 0.3 miles from our turn, so it's right up here. Will be our next light. So bear with me a minute. We'll be running through that, which should be interesting. And then there'll be a spot coming up down a little bit as well, next to a fire station, where I tend to run into a lot of phantom braking. So we'll see if that's going to happen today. I'm not sure if it's because it thinks it's seeing something or if it's because of all the emergency vehicles out there. So we know there were some updates for that. But all right, so moved us over pretty good there. You know, that felt nice, no issues. Oh, a little jerkiness there. I don't know if you just noticed that. But interesting too, no turn signal at this point, which sometimes I've noticed it'll do. It'll wait until it gets up to the turn in order to, before it will put on its signal, which I don't really understand the logic there. I mean, I would typically put on my turn signal moving into the turn lane, and I would just leave it on. But I guess the Beta is not the only one, because you could see that car, now they just moved, but they didn't have their blinker on. But this one does, but the one in front of them doesn't. So I guess it's pretty variable anyway. All right, so this light should be turning green for us here pretty quick, and I think we're close enough. We'll get through this light cycle. And if it does, let's say turn yellow on us, that'll be interesting too, to see how the Beta reacts, if it's gonna try to stop, and if it does, will it be too short, or will it stop in the intersection, or, you know, anything crazy. So luckily, my experience has been if it hits yellow and we're kind of on the move, it will move forward just like a normal person would. I haven't had any weird stops, but you never know with a big truck like that there, you know, just putting along. All right, there it is. Hilarious. So it's yellow and we're just moving through, so like we should. All right, so that was nice. Got through there no problem. There was that pedestrian too at the crosswalk, and you know, if you've seen other Beta videos, the Beta will err on the side of caution a lot when there's people in crosswalks, and it will stop even if maybe they're just hanging out and talking or not necessarily crossing. But I'm glad it did not do that in that situation, because we would have been hanging out in the intersection if we had done that. So the Beta made the right call. Now our turn is going to be on the left here in just about a mile, so hopefully it will get over here sooner than later. Also, you would think, seeing the left lane, you know, looks pretty open, and the right's got this big tractor trailer in it, that would be nice to move over, but we'll see what it decides it wants to do. Alright, changing lanes to follow route, so went ahead and moved, so that's what, 0.8 miles it was when it made that decision, so it gives us a little read on how far out it looks to get over. Alright, so the area that has the shadow braking is going to be coming up here soon. I say shadow braking because it's almost like there's a shadow there, and that's what it stops for when it does do it, but you know, it's commonly referred to as ghost braking. But I do think there is a thing to shadow braking, as I've seen it literally want to stop real hard, just based on a deep shadow on on the road. Maybe looks like something it's not. Alright, so up here's the firehouse. So this is where we usually get it. Let's see if it's gonna do that ghost braking or not. See, it's overcast today, and see these trees? It's usually right here, right under that tree, because it leaves a deep shadow. It didn't do it. And this is our turn, so got us over nicely. Okay. Whoa, a little heavy braking there, but whoa, we gotta. Whoa, that was scary. Almost took over. Okay, I'll see. This is always interesting. So this lady just walking out in the crosswalk, even though I have the right of way and a green light, but Beta was slowing down for it. I did give it a light tap on the accelerator to say it was okay. I don't know if you could see her, but she was, you know, waving her hand like, are you going or am I going? And she's already halfway into the darn crosswalk, but nonetheless, we got through. I think that is kind of one of the nice things too with the Beta and how they set that up. Like, if you know there's a situation where, you know, stuff like that's going to happen, and I think that's probably hard for, you know, computers to make that decision, you know, with a lady sitting there, you know, pointing a finger at me like, you know, who's going first as she's already walking. I mean, that's kind of a complex scenario. Like, do you just go, or do you give the pedestrian the right of way, who is, you know, also in a crosswalk? But at the same point, I had a green light. She did not have the, you know, I guess the white, which is the equivalent of the green, you know, signal to cross. So technically she was in the wrong, but, you know, obviously the car's not going to choose to mow someone over and be, you know, dead wrong. So anyway, you know, that's a tough one. But the point was, is that where I was saying it was nice with the Beta is that if it gets into a situation like that, you can do that little light tap on the accelerator, and that gives it the confirmation to say, hey, you know, whatever the situation there that is giving hesitation, like I'm saying, here's the green light, go through it, you know, proceed, and it will. So this one you've seen in some of my other videos. That freaking car, they love parking right there, right at the end of the darn stop sign, and it trips up the Beta almost every time because it thinks maybe it's moving, maybe it's not, it doesn't know. So it really takes its sweet time making that turn. But I've seen it so many times now, I've gotten accustomed to it, so, you know, just kind of relax and know it's gonna hesitate, and then it'll work its way through it like it always does. But anyway, that's about it. Nothing else really to see here. Almost at the end of the route, but hope you all had a good one and enjoyed the video. Take care.